Hello, everyone. Welcome. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get started with this week's Facebook Live. We are going to be talking about our legal services that are offered through our network. So we're going to go more in depth as to specific legal services that we offer, things that you are going to need to know, how to register, documents that you're going to need. So if you know of anyone who might find this information useful, let them know that we're going to get started in about a minute while I run through some of the usual. As all of you know, we are going to be taking any questions, so please feel free to put those in the chat as we're having our conversation. I have two of my colleagues here who are going to introduce themselves shortly. So you're able to go ahead and put any questions that you might have. Please keep it super general. We're not going to answer any questions that have to do with specific cases. If we do see those questions, we're going to take them and just answer them in a general manner. And then also just know that this is a public forum, so anything that you put on these comments, right, is visible to a lot of people. So just be mindful of what you post. I'm going to go ahead and say this in Spanish really briefly. We will get started in English and then we'll transition over to Spanish. As always, it's going to be about 15 minutes in English and around 4:15 we'll transfer to Spanish. So hola a todos, bienvenidos. Vamos a empezar con el en vivo de esta semana. Esta semana vamos a estar hablando acerca de servicios legales que se ofrecen a través del Proyecto Resurrección y de otras organizaciones, que es una colaborativa. Vamos a hablar acerca de cuáles son estos servicios, qué son los documentos que necesitan, cómo se pueden registrar. Estoy aquí con mis compañeros y vamos a empezar en inglés. Entonces, como eso de las 4:15, ya es que empezamos con la sesión en español. So si conocen a alguien que puede utilizar esta información, déjenle saber. Y se pueden conectar, como les digo, esto a las 4:15 empezamos en español. Sí, en español. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So I think a lot of you know me already. So Laura Mendoza, I'm the lead trainer at the Resurrection Project. And I'm going to be just kind of leading this conversation, make sure that we have all of the information that you need to know about our legal services. And I have two of my colleagues with me. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pass it over to Sam to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sam. I'm a Senior Program Manager at Resurrection Project, and in the Senior Program Manager Centralized Legal Services to talk about the programs that we have available.
And then Peter, if you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Laura. My name is Peter. I'm a managing attorney with the Resurrection Project, overseeing the Centralized Legal Services team and kind of overseeing the workshops we offer.
All right, well, thank you for joining us. Just a note, even though Peter is an attorney, that doesn't mean he is your attorney or he's going to be answering questions about your specific case. We're just talking about our services. So as you know, some of you know, the Resurrection Project offers a variety of services, but specifically, we wanted to talk about the Immigrant Legal Support Program, or the ILSP. So can you tell us what the ILSP is?
Yeah, so ILSP is essentially a network of workshops that are statewide. We've got 4 different what we call regions. So we have a workshop in Chicago, we have a workshop based in the western suburbs, a workshop in northern Illinois, and a workshop that kind of bounces around between central and southern Illinois. And it is essentially a place where we can provide free screenings for folks, and it's all pro se. So what that means is, like, you're not entering into any agreement with an attorney there, but there are attorneys on site who can help screen you for eligibility for available immigration relief, or, you know, go walk through what to expect at an ICE check-in or court hearing date.
Okay. Can you go a little bit more in depth into like the pro se? So somebody's going to come, they're going to talk to an attorney, and they'll just get a specific kind of like services from us. Like, what exactly can somebody expect when we're saying it? This is like pro se.
Yeah, so we do offer a variety of services there. Everyone will start with a screening, and it's a comprehensive screener. And the idea is that no matter what workshop you walk into across the state, it's all the same. So even if you maybe go to one in Chicago and then try another one in the western suburbs, I promise it's the same. But you'll get screened for what's available and just a little bit about your history, when you last entered the country, like if you have family, just a little bit. It's very long. But we screen you for what's available. And then if you are available for something that can be handled on site that same day, such as work authorization, I believe change of venue, change of address, an RFE, a FOIA, those things are taken care of on site. But when they say taken care of, it's not that we're taking on a case. They're just helping folks fill out the applications, make sure they have all the necessary information and next steps. And then when you leave the workshop, all that information is in your hands.
Got it. So it's a little bit more of a guided like event that you're doing, right? Or like a guided partnership that we're doing where it's like you are talking to an attorney, you are getting a legal screening, you are getting like an understanding of what needs to happen, but there's a lot that you as like the individual who might be filing needs to kind of take on. And so what are the services that are offered? So if somebody was like, I have maybe this case, right? I think you mentioned work permit. So it's like, is that something that is offered? So what are those services that that we're able to provide?
Yeah, and Peter, if I accidentally forget anything, please feel free to chime in. But the main service is the screening, right? So that's number one, first thing that everyone has to go through. And then we do provide services and helping to fill out applications for work authorization and for asylum. Asylum, if you are eligible through the screening and want to continue on with that, is a separate appointment, which gets taken care of at that workshop, but it does require 2 days. It just can't be done in the same day. And then there's like other services such as change of venue, change of address, RV request for evidence, and then a FOIA. And then you can also get, if you have an ICE check-in, ISAP check-in, a court hearing date, you can get sit down with an attorney and get an overview of what to expect. Make sure that you have an emergency plan ready. Make sure you get your know your rights information. All of that. Oh, I think you're on mute, Laura.
Thank you. Peter, can you tell us why it's important for somebody who may be, I think, Sam mentioned like check-ins with like ICE or court, like why is it important for somebody to come to one of these workshops and, talk to one of the attorneys, even if they're not going to be represented by the attorneys, right? Like, why is it important for them to come and kind of get this information before they go in and do these check-ins?
Yeah, I think we can help with an orientation of what to expect at the ICE check-in, and inform people as to what their rights are before they have to go and meet with an ICE officer, as well as how they can prepare themselves for some of the more negative possibilities that could take place. In the event they are detained, how can they make sure that they're able to get connected with legal services, that their children have a plan, like a plan so that they're cared for and are supervised and things like that. And also like where their important legal documents are located, so that if they do need to access legal services following the ICE check-in, a friend or family member can assist them in contacting attorneys and knows where to locate their important documents. So it's really the main thing is to I think it's helpful to get that orientation and kind of remove some of the doubt around these appointments, and to like in some of the concerns people might have just because it's an unknown situation, and obviously there's a lot of news going on, and like negative things in the news, and so people are understandably scared, but hopefully we can answer some of those questions before they have to go meet with ICE.
Yeah, no, and I think that's important, right? That as you're hearing Sam and kind of Peter talk, there's like a lot of things that you're gonna have to think about, think through, maybe like analyze. And I think like that's what could be really helpful, is to have somebody who is an expert on what's going on, be able to walk you at least through those things that you might need to think about, and also guide you in the direction of where there are resources or things that you might need to utilize. So and let's also be really frank and realistic about what's happening currently. And we are seeing, unfortunately, that as people are going into these check-ins, right, they are some are being detained, and we want to make sure that we're able to protect individuals as much as possible. And we always say this: one of the best ways to protect yourselves is to have a plan, is to go in kind of ready, even though we don't exactly know what to expect. Cool. So what are some things that people need to bring as they're maybe doing appointments? What are some of those documents that they're going to need to bring in with them?
Yeah, so that would depend on what service they're attending the workshop for. For someone who is looking for a legal screening, they're going to want to bring any documents they've received from the immigration court, any documents they've received from ICE officers or any immigration official. Obviously, any evidence they might have from their home country, which would, support an asylum claim, any identity documents, any prior immigration applications they may have filed. If one thing we see occasionally is people who have had interactions with the criminal justice system in the United States, even for minor things like driving without a license. It's usually helpful if someone is able to bring a certified disposition of any court case that may have been opened in criminal court here in the United States, because oftentimes USCIS will request those documents. And then, yeah, I think the main thing would be obviously the immigration related documents, and then, things like birth certificates, passports, if you have an ID from your home country or an ID from here in the United States, a driver's license, city key ID, or things like the cedula or like the consular IDs from Mexico and things like that. Those are all documents that would be relevant during the screening.
Yeah, I think really important, right, for people to have. I think you'll constantly hear this from us in terms of like being sure that you have all of the documents at hand, especially anything that relates to your immigration case, right? It's something that anybody you talk to in terms of like if it's an attorney or a DOJ or credit representative is going to need to be able to look over those documents before being able to actually guide you in the process, right? Because if the documents are there, then you don't know kind of what's going on. And I know sometimes like document gathering can be overwhelming, but it's definitely about like do your best to gather what you have, and then we'll work to figure out what else is needed, and when else you can bring that.
Absolutely right. Like we'll still do our best, but obviously the more documents, the more information you can bring in, the more informed opinions we can offer at the workshop.
Right. And so then how are people able to make an appointment? How do people get in contact with our services?
Yeah, so there's two different ways that you can go about this, both online. So for those who are most familiar with Resurrection Project and our website, you can go to trpimmigrantjustice.org or trpij.org. And I hope someone's dropping that in the chat or the comments. And you can navigate to the Legal Assistance tab. There you'll be able to click on Register for a Workshop. Great, thank you. And it might take a second, I'm sure, with technology, but it will navigate us to a form, and that form will just ask for a lot of basic information that we're going to need to get you an appointment. So it's your contact information, your full name, just a quick overview of country of citizenship, last time you entered the country, etc. And we do ask that you put in all of your contact info if available. So phone and email, because if something does change either prior to the workshop or as we know, things have been shifting quite a lot recently in the last few months. If something changes around the time you have an appointment, we'd love to be able to contact you and just keep you updated. Yeah, so just hit individual and it'll take you to the next page. Here is where you'll see the options for the types of appointments that we have. So again, as we mentioned, if you have an ICE or ISAP check-in or you have an upcoming court hearing, those would be the ones you select. It'll just ask what date your check-in is or your court hearing date is. If you want to apply for asylum, it'll navigate you to that. If you want a work permit, etc. All of this, we still have to go through the screening. So all of this essentially just helps us figure out how what we can anticipate assisting you with, and then we'll be able to make sure that you're eligible for asylum before proceeding, then having you fill out the application. But yeah.
Nice. All right. I'm going to stop sharing there. And so, yeah, the most important thing is making sure that you do this pre-screening, right? Don't call the Resurrection Project asking for these workshops, because unfortunately what's going to happen is they're going to tell you, go to the website and fill that form out. So in order to avoid that extra step, just go directly to the form. It is super user-friendly. You are able to do it on your phone as well. If you're like, I don't have a computer, right? Like you can do it on your phone as well. And it is in Spanish. And so, you know, like there are things that are there to make sure that you're able to complete this form. And then lastly, I want to share, this is our flyer, which I think you've probably have seen, hopefully you've seen on social media. But it is, it explains basically what we talked about here, right? Our immigrant legal support services, you know, where it links you directly to the form so that you're able to do that form. So you'll be seeing this on our social media pages as well. So that if it's something that maybe you're like, oh, this was great, but this is an information that's really pertinent to me, you can go ahead and share then this either Facebook Live or Instagram Live that is going to stay recorded, and this infographic as well, so that people are able to go and, you know, see if this is something that would be relevant to them and that they would be able to do. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna remove that. And then lastly, want to just check to see if there's any questions about the services offered through the ILSP or anything Peter or Sam mentioned. I did see a question more around just being able to travel as a legal permanent resident. I'm not going to answer that on the live just because I do want to stay on topic, but I do want to remind people that we have the Illinois Immigration Info website, which we're going to drop on the chat right now. And actually, let me share my screen as well. And there you'll be able to find just different information. We have a section called FAQs, or frequently asked questions, where you'll be able to see if maybe one of the questions that you have is something that we're already talking about. Like, for example, here we talk about travel, right? And kind of what do you need to know, what you should avoid if you're traveling within the US. So really good website. So IllinoisImmigrationInfo.org. If you go to frequently asked questions, you'll be able to get just more information around different topics around immigration. All right, and I don't see any more questions. So now we're gonna just transition over to Spanish. Ok, vamos a empezar con la sesión entonces en español. Una vez más, ¿verdad? Estamos aquí para hablar acerca de los servicios que ofrece nuestra organización para poder ayudar a personas que están haciendo diferentes procesos. Entonces, estoy aquí con dos de mis compañeros que están representando el programa con el cual ellos trabajan. Entonces, voy a dejar que se introduzcan primero y ahorita empezamos a hablar más acerca del programa. También si tienen preguntas, por favor, pónganlas en el chat. Estamos viendo y vamos a ir contestando las preguntas. Manténganlas, por favor, las preguntas que sean asociadas con el tema que estamos hablando el día de hoy. Manténganlas generales. No vamos a contestar ninguna pregunta que tenga detalles, que esté pidiendo consejo específico. Y acuérdense que pues este es un foro público y todo se queda grabado. Entonces no compartan algo que no quieran que a otras personas estén viendo. Entonces voy a empezar con Peter para que se introduzca.
Sí, gracias Laura. Yo me llamo Peter, yo soy un abogado con el proyecto de resurrección y yo soy uno de los abogados que trabaja en los talleres para servicios legales.
Y ahora Samantha.
No, me llamo Samantha. Soy un Senior Program Manager en the Resurrection Project y trabajo asistiendo a los talleres en todo el estado.
Entonces, hay talleres que se están poniendo a través del estado. Estos talleres proveen servicios específicos. ¿Nos pueden contar un poquito acerca de estos talleres? ¿Cuál es el propósito de los talleres y qué servicios se ofrecen durante estos talleres? Quien quiera. Y si no, en inglés yo lo puedo traducir en español, no te preocupes.
I'll just speak in English just to make sure that we don't miss anything. But the workshops are all around the state, and they are pro se. And so we have some in Chicago, Northern Illinois, Western suburbs, and Central and Southern Illinois. Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, no. Entonces los talleres son talleres que se llevan alrededor del estado de Illinois. Se llevan en diferentes regiones, como la región sur, central, la región de Chicago, para poder proveer servicios limitados, legales, a las personas.
They are free and they are pro se. So that means that you are not entering an agreement with an attorney for your specific case.
Entonces, los servicios son gratuitos, pero son servicios limitados, lo que significa que no están entrando a un contrato con un abogado, sino es que van a recibir una guianza de un abogado y ese es el único servicio que se les estaría ofreciendo.
So you'll get screened for what available immigration relief there is, and we are able to match you with an attorney who can go through the comprehensive legal screener to see what you might be available for.
Entonces, pero lo que sí van a poder hacer es, van a poder hablar con un abogado, van a tener una consulta, lo que significa que se les va a hacer una asesoría acerca de su caso para poder determinar cómo se les puede guiar.
And some of the services that we assist with, if you are eligible, are work authorization, asylum, change of venue, change of address, RFE, a FOIA, or walking you through what to expect at an ICE check-in or a court hearing.
Entonces, algunos de los servicios que se ofrecen, con los que ya podemos ayudar, serían el permiso de trabajo, personas que están pidiendo asilo, cambio de dirección, personas que también tienen una cita con inmigración, ya sea con la corte o con los programas de supervisión que hay. Todos esos son servicios que se les podría proveer una guianza con nuestro equipo. Okay. All right. Entonces, esos son los servicios que van a poder esperar de nosotros. Peter, ¿nos puedes decir un poquito acerca de los documentos que van a necesitar las personas o como qué esperar? ¿Qué servicios van a recibir? O sea, ¿cómo se ve ese día de los servicios que reciben de ustedes?
Sí, bueno, con respecto a los documentos que uno debe traer, bueno, esto depende del servicio que uno está buscando en nuestro taller. Si uno está viendo para una consulta, muy importante traer todos los documentos que esa persona ha recibido de la corte, cualquier documento que ha recibido de ICE o de inmigración. También documentos de identidad como pasaporte, acta de nacimiento, cédula, o ID de Chicago, CDK, o puede ser un permiso de trabajo, cosas así. Otras personas que están buscando como ayuda con una visa U o algo así, deben traer como una denuncia con la policía o algo así. También a veces trabajamos con personas que tienen antecedentes penales en los Estados Unidos. Esas personas deben traer disposición certificado de la corte criminal acá en Illinois o en cualquier estado donde tuvo corte, porque UCIS va a pedir cosas así cuando entregamos ese tipo de aplicación.
Y bueno, un recordatorio que aunque estamos hablando acerca de esta lista de documentos, no es importante que de todas maneras, si piensan que pueden recibir servicios de nosotros, hagan una cita, se acerquen con nosotros sin importar si tienen esos documentos o no. Es obviamente más fácil para los abogados poder asesorarlos teniendo toda esa información presente, pero no queremos que eso sea un obstáculo para que ustedes no vengan y no hablen con uno de los expertos acerca del caso. Entonces, traten de recaudar todos esos documentos, pero si por alguna razón no los tienen, de todas maneras, acérquense con nosotros para que nosotros podamos ver cómo les podemos asistir, ya sea ayudándoles a conseguir esos documentos o tratando de ver qué más se puede hacer para poder prestarles estos servicios. Uno de los servicios que mencionamos que podemos proporcionar es esa guía si las personas se van a presentar con la corte o con los programas de supervisión. ¿Nos podrías decir por qué es importante que las personas se acerquen con nosotros antes de presentarse a esas citas?
Sí, bueno, es que en ese momento hay muchas cosas que salen en las noticias, muchas noticias muy malas, entonces hay un montón de gente que obviamente tiene miedo de asistir a una cita con ICE o asistir a una audiencia en la corte. Entonces lo que nosotros podemos ofrecer es una orientación y ayudar a la gente a prepararse para asistir las citas. Entonces podemos informarle qué qué documentos debe traer a su cita, qué le va a preguntar el oficial de inmigración o el juez, en tu caso, bueno, cómo puede prepararse, qué debe hacer si uno es arrestado asistiendo a corte o una cita con inmigración, y cómo prepararse por si acaso que ellos le arrestan, quién va a cuidar a sus niños. Entonces, ayudamos a la gente a formar un plan para por si acaso que algo malo así pasa cuando ellos tienen que ir a la cita con inmigración.
Sí, no, desafortunadamente hay muchas cosas ahorita de las cuales no sabemos y las cuales también no tenemos control, ¿no? Desafortunadamente no está en nuestro poder decirles si ustedes van a ser arrestados o no. Eso está a manos de los agentes de inmigración, de otras entidades. Pero lo que sí podemos decir, ¿no? Es asegurar que tengan ese plan. En lo que sí podemos apoyar es en tener esa guianza. Entonces, por favor, no duden en acercarse a nosotros si es que van a tener ese tipo de citas para que puedan tener esa guianza y también honestamente para que no solamente sientan, pero que vean que no están solos, que esto no es algo que nada más les está pasando a ustedes o que nada más les importa a ustedes y a su familia, ¿no? En Proyecto de Selección tenemos un equipo de personas que está dedicada y comprometida a asegurarse que los inmigrantes estén defendidos. Y eso incluye, ¿no? En ocasiones, como presentarse a este tipo de citas. Y bueno, ya por último, es cómo puede hacer alguien una cita para poder recibir servicios a través de los talleres.
There are two websites. We forgot one and the other in the English. But you can go to our website, trpij.org or trpimmigrantjustice.org, and navigate to legal assistance, which Laura, I think, is going to share the screen.
Yeah. Entonces voy a ponerlo ahorita en pantalla. Right? So hay básicamente dos sitios web donde pueden ir. El primero es trpimmigrantjustice.org, que es directamente nuestro sitio de internet del Proyecto Resurrección. Van a tener la opción de ponerlo en inglés o en español. Pueden elegir español. Y van a donde dice asistencia legal. Si es que me permite. Entonces, una vez que ya estén en asistencia legal, van a ir a los talleres y van a seleccionar inscribirse en un taller. Una vez que que hagan clic en esa selección, se va a abrir otra pantalla, que perdón que no me permite hacer las dos cosas a la misma vez. Entonces, ahí está, viene saliendo y puedes iniciar su solicitud en español. Les van a hacer preguntas acerca de su caso, de su nombre, cómo lo pueden contactar, cosas así. Empiezan con individuo y les van a hacer más preguntas y ya una vez que se determine que sí es un tipo de caso que podemos tomar, entonces se les deja saber cuándo pueden agendar en dónde se puede agendar una cita, o sea, qué fecha y en qué locación hay citas disponibles. Ok. Do you want to go over the other website? Y ahorita Sam nos va a hablar acerca del otro sitio web.
Yeah, the second one is, Illinois Immigration Info. Is that correct? The acronym. And there you can also sign up for a workshop. It will take you to the same form and you just fill it out.
Entonces, también tenemos Illinois Immigration Information, donde también van a poder ver recursos legales y pueden seleccionar taller. Y ahí entonces igual los va a llevar a la otra página como les había mostrado, donde se empieza un formulario. Una nota con este sitio web de Illinois Immigration Information es de que está disponible en español y también en otros idiomas. Entonces me gusta dejarles saber eso, porque a veces no conocemos personas que a lo mejor no hablan español, pero inglés tampoco es su lengua nativa y tienen otras opciones para otros idiomas. Entonces, esa es realmente la diferencia entre los dos sitios web. Es nada más en uno tienes un poco más de opciones de idiomas disponibles que desafortunadamente, que en la de Proyecto Resurrección. Pero los dos los llevan al mismo lugar, que es ese enlace para que puedan ustedes agendar una cita con nosotros. Ok. ¿Alguna otra cosa que quieran mencionar? Anything else that you'd like to mention? No? Okay. Lo último que sí les voy a dejar saber es de que en nuestras redes sociales probablemente van a ver esta información acerca de los talleres que hay disponibles, que les lleva a ese enlace directo y básicamente les habla acerca de la misma información, un poquito de lo que hablamos el día de hoy. Entonces, este es un folleto que pueden compartir en las redes sociales con personas que lo necesiten. Igual, como les digo, este solamente habla acerca de nuestros talleres que tenemos disponibles, pero es una información que si no les es útil a ustedes, pueden compartirlos con otras personas. Entonces, con eso acabamos el en vivo. Muchas gracias por estar presentes. Nos vamos a ver próximamente déjenme verificar la fecha, y vamos a tener otro tema. Va a ser el 20 de agosto, que vamos a estar hablando acerca de cómo nos impacta el paquete del Big Beautiful Bill que pasó recientemente. Vamos a hablar un poquito acerca de qué es lo que sabemos al momento, cómo nos va a impactar eso como comunidad inmigrante. So, thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Samantha. To anybody who was on Instagram Live watching us, thank you. And we'll be on August 20th, we'll be talking about Big Beautiful Bill. What does that mean for the immigrant community? How does that impact us? So thank you, everyone.